She was the fan-favorite daughter of America's most famous little family. Anna Johnston, adopted by Trent and Amber Johnston, grew up in front of millions on TLC's Seven Little Johnstons. But behind the scenes, Anna was hiding a secret that would shake her family, her fans, and her future. What began as a dream soon spiraled into a nightmare. Addiction, deception, and desperation followed. And when the truth came out, it wasn't just a family scandal, it was a public reckoning. Yes, you heard it right. Last August, Anna Johnston secretly started a clothing business. No one in her family knew about it. To start the business, she borrowed $30,000 from a gentleman named Joseph. However, within a short time, Anna became heavily addicted to drugs and online gambling. She began spending the business money on drugs and gambling, which gradually led to the collapse of her business. Eventually, Anna Johnston's mother, Amber Johnston, discovered the matter and informed the rest of the family. Anna then demanded an additional $10,000 from her father, Trent Johnston, to fund her drug and gambling habits. When Trent refused to give her the money, Anna behaved disrespectfully toward her father. Her behavior deeply devastated her mother, Amber Johnston. Later, Joseph, the man who had lent Anna $30,000, filed a lawsuit against her in court for failing to repay the loan. Anna Johnston was accused of behaving dishonestly with her parents and failing to repay Joseph's $30,000 debt. The court found the charges against her to be true. As a result, the court sentenced Anna Johnston to 6 months in prison and ordered her to be sent to a rehabilitation center after completing her jail term. This is the untold story of Anna Johnston's secret business, her descent into addiction, and the heartbreaking consequences that followed. A story of ambition, betrayal, and redemption. Let's dive deep. From the moment Anna Johnston stepped into the spotlight on TLC's Seven Little Johnstons, she captured hearts across America. Adopted from Siberia at the age of 4, Anna was welcomed into the Johnston family with open arms. Her journey, marked by resilience, laughter, and the challenges of living with achondroplasia dwarfism, was documented for millions to see. She wasn't just a reality TV star, she was a symbol of strength, independence, and hope. The Johnston family, led by parents Trent and Amber, prided themselves on transparency. Their show didn't shy away from the realities of raising 5 children with dwarfism. Viewers watched as Anna navigated school, friendships, heartbreaks, and the pursuit of her own identity. She was the quiet fighter, never the loudest, but always determined. Fans admired her for her grit and her gentle spirit. She was the one who smiled through pain, who kept going when things got tough. But behind the scenes, Anna was growing restless. As she entered her 20s, the pressure of being the good daughter weighed heavily. Her siblings were forging their own paths, some in college, others in relationships, and Anna felt the need to prove herself. She wanted more than just a storyline on a reality show. She wanted to be seen as a businesswoman, a creator, someone who could build something of her own. That's when the idea struck her, a clothing brand. Not just any brand, but one that celebrated individuality, body positivity, and bold fashion choices for little people and beyond. It was ambitious, risky, and deeply personal. Anna believed she could make it work. She had the platform, the audience, and the drive. But there was one problem. She didn't want her family involved. Whether it was pride, fear of judgment, or a desire for autonomy, Anna kept her plans secret. She didn't tell Amber. She didn't tell Trent. She didn't tell her siblings. She quietly began sketching designs, researching suppliers, and building a website. And when she needed funding, she turned to someone outside the family, a man named Joseph. Joseph wasn't a family friend. He wasn't a business mentor. He was a private lender, someone Anna met through a mutual acquaintance. He agreed to loan her $30,000 to launch her brand, no questions asked. It was a leap of faith on both sides. Anna promised to repay the loan within a year, confident that her brand would take off. For a brief moment, it seemed like Anna had found her calling. She was designing, marketing, and dreaming big, but the secrecy came at a cost. Without her family's support or guidance, Anna was navigating a world she didn't fully understand. And as the pressure mounted, cracks began to show. This chapter of Anna's life wasn't on camera. It wasn't scripted. It was raw, real, and headed toward a storm no one saw coming. Anna Johnston had always been the quiet dreamer in the Johnston household. While her siblings leaned on their parents for guidance, Anna often chose independence. She didn't want to be seen as the adopted daughter who needed help. She wanted to prove she could build something on her own, without the safety net of family or fame. In the summer of last year, Anna made a bold decision. She would launch her own clothing brand. Not just a side hustle, but a full-fledged business that reflected her personality, her values, and her vision. She wanted to design clothes that celebrated uniqueness, especially for people with dwarfism. She envisioned bold prints, empowering slogans, and inclusive sizing. It was personal, it was powerful, and it was hers. But Anna didn't tell anyone. Not Amber, not Trent, not her siblings. She kept her plans locked away, working late into the night on sketches, supplier lists, and website mock-ups. She watched YouTube tutorials on e-commerce, read articles about branding, and even joined online forums under a fake name to ask questions. She was determined to do this alone. The secrecy wasn't just about pride. It was about control. Anna feared that if she told her family, they'd either try to take over or discourage her. She didn't want their opinions. She wanted their silence. And so, she built her business in the shadows. But dreams need money, and Anna didn't have enough. That's when she met Joseph. Joseph was a quiet, well-dressed man in his early 40s. He wasn't part of the Johnston family circle. He wasn't a friend or a fan. He was a private lender, someone Anna was introduced to through a mutual acquaintance. Joseph listened to Anna's pitch, reviewed her business plan, and agreed to lend her $30,000. No collateral, no co-signer, just a promise to repay within 12 months. Anna was ecstatic. With the money secured, she ordered her first batch of inventory, paid for a custom website, and even hired a freelance designer to help with branding. She called the brand AG Bold, a nod to her initials and her fearless spirit. For a brief moment, everything felt perfect. Anna posted teaser images on a secret Instagram account. She planned a soft launch in October. She even drafted press releases she hoped to send to fashion blogs. She believed this was her moment, her breakout from the shadow of reality TV. But the pressure of secrecy began to mount. She couldn't share her excitement with her family. She couldn't ask for advice when suppliers delayed shipments. She couldn't explain why she was stressed or distracted. And slowly, the isolation began to take its toll. Anna started spending more time alone. She stopped attending family dinners. She avoided filming days. Her phone buzzed constantly with business alerts, but her heart felt heavier with each passing week. The dream she had built in silence was starting to feel like a burden. And then, the cracks began to show. What started as a secret business would soon spiral into a storm of addiction, deception, and heartbreak. Anna's ambition had led her to build something beautiful, but without support it was built on sand. The collapse was coming, and no one in the Johnston family saw it coming. Every dream needs fuel. For Anna Johnston, that fuel came in the form of $30,000, borrowed from a man named Joseph. Joseph wasn't a family friend. He wasn't a business advisor. He was a quiet, calculated man in his early 40s who operated in the shadows of private lending. Anna met him through a mutual acquaintance, someone who knew she was looking for startup capital but didn't want to involve her family. Joseph specialized in discreet loans, no banks, no paperwork trails, just trust and terms. Anna pitched her idea with passion. She showed in mock-ups of her clothing line, explained her vision for inclusive fashion, and promised a return on investment within a year. Joseph listened, nodded, and agreed. The terms were simple: $30,000 upfront, with monthly repayments starting 3 months after launch. No collateral, just a verbal agreement and a digital signature. Anna was thrilled. She had the money, she had the designs, she had the fire. She immediately began placing orders for inventory, hiring freelancers, and building her brand's online presence. For the first time, she felt like a real entrepreneur. But Joseph wasn't just a lender, he was a businessman. He kept tabs on Anna's progress. He checked her website traffic, monitored her social media engagement, and occasionally asked for updates. At first, Anna responded eagerly. She sent him screenshots, shared her plans, and promised big things. Then the silence began. 3 months passed. The website hadn't launched. The inventory was delayed. Anna stopped replying to Joseph's messages. He grew concerned. He wasn't just watching a business stall, he was watching his money disappear. Behind the scenes, Anna's life was unraveling. The pressure of secrecy, the stress of entrepreneurship, and the isolation from her family were taking a toll. She began seeking escape, first through online gambling, then through drugs. What started as a coping mechanism quickly became an addiction. The $30,000 meant for her business was now being funneled into gambling apps and drug purchases. Joseph noticed the signs. He saw erratic spending patterns, missed deadlines, and vague excuses. He tried to intervene, offering to restructure the loan or help with marketing. But Anna was spiraling, and she didn't want help. She wanted silence. By the 6th month, Joseph had had enough. He sent a formal notice demanding repayment. Anna ignored it. He sent another. Still no response. That's when Joseph made the decision. He would take legal action. For Anna, the dream had turned into a nightmare. The business she built in secret was collapsing. The money was gone. The addiction was growing. And now, the man who had once believed in her was preparing to sue her. Joseph's $30,000 gamble wasn't just a financial risk. It was a window into Anna's unraveling world. And as the lawsuit loomed, the Johnston family remained in the dark, unaware that their daughter was drowning in debt, addiction, and deception. The storm was coming, and it would hit harder than anyone expected. Anna Johnston's clothing brand, A.J. Bold, was supposed to be her breakthrough, a symbol of independence, a declaration of self-worth. But as the weeks passed, the dream began to sour. The inventory was delayed. The website launch kept getting pushed back, and the pressure of secrecy weighed heavier than ever. Anna was alone. She couldn't talk to her parents. They didn't even know about the business. She couldn't confide in her siblings. They'd ask too many questions. And she couldn't admit to Joseph, the man who had loaned her $30,000, that she was overwhelmed. So she turned inward, and then she turned to escape. It started with online gambling. Late nights, flashing screens, the thrill of winning. Anna found comfort in the chaos. She told herself it was temporary, just a distraction until the business took off. But soon, the gambling wasn't just a hobby. It was a habit. She began using the business funds to place bets. Small ones at first, then larger, then reckless. When the losses piled up, Anna panicked. She needed something stronger to numb the anxiety. That's when drugs entered the picture. It wasn't a dramatic plunge. It was a slow slide. A pill to sleep. A pill to stay awake. A pill to feel less. Anna began experimenting with prescription medications, then moved to harder substances. The money meant for A.G. Bold was now fueling a dangerous addiction. Her behavior changed. She stopped showing up for family events. She missed filming days for 7 little Johnstons. Her texts became erratic. Her moods unpredictable. She was irritable, withdrawn, and defensive. But no one knew why. To the outside world, Anna was just stressed. Maybe tired. Maybe going through something personal. But inside, she was drowning. The addiction wasn't just physical, it was emotional. Anna felt trapped between the image she had built and the reality she was living. She was supposed to be the strong one, the independent one, The daughter who didn't need help. Admitting she was struggling felt like failure. So she kept lying. She told Joseph the business was progressing. She told herself she'd pay him back soon. She told her family nothing. And every time she placed a bet or took a pill, she promised it was the last time. But it never was. By the 5th month, A.J. Bold was barely functioning. The website was inactive. The inventory was untouched. The funds were gone. And Anna was spiraling deeper into addiction. Her once bright future was now clouded by secrecy, shame, and self-destruction. This wasn't the Anna Johnston fans knew. This wasn't the daughter Amber and Trent had raised. This was a young woman in crisis, alone, addicted, and on the verge of collapse. And the worst part? No one knew. Not yet. Anna Johnston's clothing brand, A.J. Bold, was supposed to be her escape, a way to prove she could thrive outside the shadow of her famous family. But as the months passed, the pressure of secrecy and the weight of responsibility began to crush her spirit. And in that vulnerable space, she found a dangerous outlet: online gambling. It started innocently, a few bets on sports apps, a couple of spins on virtual slot machines. Anna told herself it was harmless, just a way to unwind after long nights of business planning. But the thrill of winning was intoxicating, and the sting of losing only pushed her to bet more. She began transferring money from her business account to gambling platforms. At first, it was small amounts, $100 here, $200 there. But soon, the withdrawals became larger. Thousands of dollars vanished in a matter of weeks. The $30,000 loan from Joseph, meant to fund inventory and marketing, was now fueling a growing addiction. Anna became obsessed. She stayed up until dawn, chasing losses, convinced the next bet would be the one to turn it all around. Her phone buzzed constantly with notifications from gambling apps. She ignored emails from suppliers. She stopped checking her brand's social media. A.J. Bold was no longer a priority. It was a forgotten dream buried beneath flashing screens and false hope. Her behavior shifted. She became irritable, paranoid, and withdrawn. She avoided family gatherings, skipped filming days, and stopped responding to messages from Joseph. Her once bright demeanor was replaced by a cloud of anxiety and desperation. She was losing control, and she knew it. But instead of asking for help, Anna doubled down. She began lying to herself and others. She told herself she'd win the money back and repay Joseph. She convinced herself the business could still succeed. She even considered launching a fake sale on her website to generate quick cash. But deep down, she knew the truth. The money was gone, and the dream was dead. Joseph, meanwhile, was growing suspicious. He had invested in Anna's vision, believing in her passion and promise. But now she was silent. The website hadn't launched. The inventory hadn't shipped. And the repayments hadn't started. He sent emails, texts, and formal notices. Anna ignored them all. By the 6th month, the damage was done. A.J. Bold had no products, no customers, and no future. The $30,000 loan had evaporated into gambling losses and drug purchases. Anna was spiraling, and her silence was deafening. The business she had built in secret was now a ghost, haunting her every waking moment. And still, her family had no idea. Amber and Trent Johnston believed their daughter was simply stressed. They didn't know about the loan. They didn't know about the gambling. They didn't know about the addiction. But the truth was inching closer. And when it finally surfaced, it would shatter everything. Anna's secret wasn't just about money. It was about pain, pride, and the desperate need to escape. And as the funds vanished, so did the girl who once dreamed of building something bold. Amber Johnston had always been the emotional anchor of the Johnston family. On 7 Little Johnstons, she was portrayed as firm but loving, a mother who balanced discipline with compassion. She knew each of her children's strengths, weaknesses, and quirks. But when it came to Anna, Amber often sensed something deeper, an unspoken need for independence, a quiet struggle for identity. For months, Amber had noticed changes in Anna's behavior. She was distant, distracted, unavailable. She skipped family dinners, avoided filming days, and brushed off casual conversations. Amber chalked it up to stress. Maybe school, maybe relationships. But the signs became harder to ignore. Anna's eyes looked tired. Her mood swung wildly. She was spending money without explanation. And worst of all, she was lying. Amber's instincts kicked in. One evening, while cleaning the shared family office, Amber stumbled upon a folder tucked behind a stack of old paperwork. It was labeled AG Bold. Curious, she opened it. And what she found made her heart sink. Inside were invoices, supplier contracts, and a loan agreement for $30,000. The lender's name, Joseph. Amber's hands trembled. She had no idea Anna had started a business. No one in the family did. And the loan, $30,000 from a stranger, was a bombshell. Amber felt betrayed, confused, and terrified. Why hadn't Anna come to them? Why had she kept this a secret? She confronted Anna that night. The conversation was explosive. Amber demanded answers. Anna deflected, denied, then broke down. She admitted to the business, the loan, and eventually the gambling and drug use. Amber was devastated. Her daughter, her sweet, determined Anna, was in crisis, and she hadn't seen it coming. Amber called Trent. Then the rest of the family. The Johnston household, once filled with laughter and routine, was now gripped by shock and sorrow. Everyone had questions. Everyone had emotions. But no one had a solution. Amber felt guilt. She replayed every moment she'd missed, every sign she'd ignored. She wondered if her push for independence had backfired. She had always encouraged Anna to be strong, to stand on her own. But maybe Anna had taken that too far. Maybe she had felt she couldn't ask for help. The days that followed were tense. Amber tried to support Anna while also holding her accountable. She scheduled therapy sessions, reached out to addiction specialists, and even contacted Joseph to understand the loan terms. But Anna was spiraling. She refused help. She lashed out. She withdrew further. Amber cried often, not just for the money, or the business, or the betrayal, but for the daughter she felt she was losing. The daughter who had once clung to her hand in Siberia, who had fought through surgeries and school bullies, who had smiled through pain. That daughter was now drowning in addiction and secrecy. Amber's discovery wasn't just a turning point, it was a wake-up call. The Johnston family was no longer just dealing with a financial crisis. They were facing a personal one. And as Amber looked at Anna, she realized the road ahead would be long, painful, and uncertain. But she also knew one thing: she wouldn't give up. Not on her daughter. Not on her family. Not on hope. Trent Johnston had always been the steady hand in the Johnston household. Calm, practical, and protective. He was the kind of father who believed in hard work and accountability. While Amber often led with emotion, Trent led with principle. And when it came to his children, he believed in teaching them how to stand on their own, even when it hurt. So when Amber revealed Anna's secret business, the $30,000 loan, and her growing addiction, Trent was stunned. He didn't yell. He didn't cry. He sat in silence, absorbing the weight of the betrayal. His daughter, his Anna, had borrowed money from a stranger, hidden a business, and squandered it all on drugs and gambling. It wasn't just reckless. It was heartbreaking. Trent confronted Anna the next morning. He asked her to explain. She tried. But her words were scattered, defensive, and emotional. She admitted to the gambling. She admitted to the drugs. She admitted that the money was gone. But then she made a demand that shattered the fragile moment of honesty. She asked Trent for $10,000. Not for rehab, not for therapy, but to continue funding her habits. She was desperate, erratic, and convinced that more money would fix everything. She promised she'd win it back. She promised she'd repay him. She promised it was temporary. Trent refused. Firmly, quietly, without hesitation. He told Anna that giving her more money would only deepen the damage, that enabling her addiction wasn't love, it was surrender. He told her she needed help, not cash. And he told her that until she was ready to face the consequences, he couldn't support her choices. Anna exploded. She screamed. She cried. She accused Trent of abandoning her. She called him cold, heartless, and controlling. She said he never believed in her, never supported her, never understood her. Her words were sharp, cruel, and soaked in pain. Trent didn't respond with anger. He responded with silence. Amber watched from the hallway, tears streaming down her face. The daughter she had raised with love and patience was now lashing out at the man who had given her a home, a name, and a future. It was a moment of devastation, one that would echo through the family for weeks. Anna stormed out. She didn't speak to Trent for days. She refused to eat with the family. She locked herself in her room. The Johnston household, once filled with laughter and routine, was now fractured. Everyone felt the tension. Everyone felt the loss. Trent struggled. He wanted to help. He wanted to fix things. But he also knew that enabling Anna would only prolong the pain. He believed in tough love. But this wasn't just tough, it was torture. Watching his daughter spiral while refusing to accept help was the hardest thing he'd ever faced. Anna's breakdown wasn't just about money. It was about identity, shame, and the desperate need to feel in control. But in that moment, she had lost control, and her father's refusal was the mirror she couldn't bear to face. The family was breaking, and the storm was far from over. The Johnston family had always prided themselves on unity. Through surgeries, school struggles, and the challenges of living with dwarfism, they stood together. Their bond was their strength. But Anna's secret shattered that foundation. After Amber discovered the hidden business and the $30,000 loan, the family was thrown into emotional chaos. Trent's refusal to give Anna more money had triggered a breakdown. Anna was spiraling, and now the entire household was caught in the storm. The tension was palpable. Dinner conversations turned into silence. Filming days became awkward. Siblings whispered behind closed doors, unsure how to process what was happening. Jonah, Elizabeth, Alex, and Emma each reacted differently. Some were angry, some were confused, some were heartbroken, but all of them felt betrayed. Anna had always been the quiet one, the independent one, the sister who didn't ask for much. But now, she was the center of a crisis that no one saw coming. Amber tried to hold the family together. She scheduled family meetings, hoping to create space for open dialogue. But emotions ran high. Trent was firm in his stance. He believed Anna needed consequences, not comfort. Amber, torn between motherly compassion and tough love, struggled to find balance. The siblings, caught in the middle, didn't know who to side with. Anna, meanwhile, withdrew further. She stopped speaking to Trent. She avoided eye contact with her siblings. She refused therapy. Her room became her refuge, a place where she could escape the judgment, the disappointment, and the shame. But isolation only deepened her addiction. She continued gambling. She continued using, and the family watched helplessly. The Johnston home, once filled with laughter and routine, now felt fractured. Amber cried often. Trent stayed quiet. The siblings tiptoed around the tension, and Anna, once the girl who smiled through pain, was now a shadow of herself. The family tried interventions. They tried compassion. They tried boundaries, but nothing seemed to reach her. The fallout wasn't just emotional, it was public. Fans of Seven Little Johnstons began noticing Anna's absence from episodes. Rumors swirled online. Speculation grew, but the family remained silent, protecting Anna's privacy while grappling with the truth behind closed doors. Amber considered reaching out to Joseph, the lender. She wanted to understand the legal implications. She feared a lawsuit. She feared public scandal. But most of all, she feared losing her daughter completely. Trent, though devastated, stood firm. He believed Anna needed to hit rock bottom before she could rebuild. He believed in accountability. And while his silence was often mistaken for coldness, it was rooted in heartbreak. He loved Anna deeply, but he didn't know how to save her. The Johnston household was in crisis. The family that once stood as a symbol of resilience was now fractured by addiction, secrecy, and emotional pain. And as Anna continued to spiral, the question loomed: could they find their way back to each other? Or was this the beginning of a permanent divide? Joseph had waited patiently. For months, he had trusted Anna Johnston to honor her word. He had loaned her $30,000 to launch her clothing brand, A.G. Bold, believing in her vision and her promise to repay the loan within a year. But as the months dragged on, Joseph saw no progress. No website launch, no inventory sales, no repayments, and no communication. Anna had gone silent. His emails were ignored, his texts unanswered, his formal notices dismissed. Joseph wasn't just watching a failed business, he was watching his investment vanish. And he wasn't going to let it go quietly. In early spring, Joseph filed a lawsuit. The claim was straightforward: breach of contract, failure to repay a private loan, and financial misconduct. He submitted the digital agreement, bank transfer records, and a timeline of missed payments. He also included screenshots of Anna's initial business pitch and her early communications, proving that she had accepted the loan under clear terms. The lawsuit hit the Johnston family like a thunderclap. Amber was devastated. Trent was furious. The siblings were stunned. They had just begun to process Anna's addiction and emotional breakdown, and now they were facing legal action. The family's name, once associated with resilience and warmth, was now tangled in scandal. Anna was served with court papers. She didn't cry, she didn't scream, she didn't react. She stared at the documents in silence, her face pale, her hands trembling. The reality had arrived. The money was gone. The business was dead, and now she was being held accountable. Amber tried to intervene. She contacted Joseph, hoping to negotiate. She offered partial repayment, a payment plan, anything to avoid court. But Joseph was firm. He had given Anna a chance. He had waited. He had warned. Now he wanted justice. Trent supported the legal process. He believed Anna needed to face the consequences of her actions. He didn't want to shield her from accountability. He wanted her to learn, to grow, to rebuild. But he also knew the road ahead would be painful for Anna and for the entire family. The court date was set. Anna hired a lawyer, paid for by Amber and Trent. The Johnston family prepared for public scrutiny. News outlets began picking up the story. Fans of Seven Little Johnstons were shocked. Social media buzzed with speculation. The scandal was no longer private, it was national. In court, Anna's lawyer argued that she was suffering from addiction and emotional distress, that the loan was taken during a vulnerable time, that she had intended to repay it but lost control. Joseph's lawyer countered with evidence of deception, financial mismanagement, and refusal to communicate. The judge listened, reviewed, deliberated, and then the verdict came. Anna Johnston was found liable for the $30,000 debt. The court ruled that she had acted dishonestly, failed to uphold her agreement, and misused the funds. But the punishment wasn't just financial. The judge sentenced Anna to 6 months in prison. And after serving her time, she would be required to enter a rehabilitation center for addiction treatment. It was a dual sentence, punishment and healing, a chance to pay her dues and rebuild her life. The Johnston family sat in silence as the verdict was read. Amber cried. Trent nodded solemnly. Anna stared ahead, numb. The debt had come due. And now, the journey toward redemption would begin. Anna Johnston sat at the defendant's table, her hands folded tightly in her lap. Her face was pale, her eyes hollow. She wasn't the vibrant reality star fans remembered. She was a young woman facing the full weight of her decisions, alone, exposed, and terrified. Across the room sat Joseph, the man who had once believed in her. He had loaned her $30,000 to launch a dream. Now he was demanding justice. His expression was calm, but firm. He wasn't there for revenge. He was there for accountability. Amber and Trent Johnston sat behind Anna, their presence unwavering. Amber's eyes welled with tears as she watched her daughter prepare to speak. Trent remained stoic, his jaw clenched, his gaze fixed forward. The rest of the Johnston siblings were absent, shielded from the media frenzy and emotional toll. The judge entered. The proceedings began. Joseph's lawyer presented the case with precision. He outlined the loan agreement, the missed payments, the lack of communication. He showed screenshots of Anna's initial business pitch, her promises to repay, and her silence as the months passed. He painted a picture of betrayal, not just financial, but personal. Anna's lawyer responded with empathy. He acknowledged the debt. He admitted the business had failed, but he argued that Anna's actions were driven by addiction, emotional distress, and a desperate attempt to prove herself. He presented medical records, therapy notes, and expert testimony on gambling addiction. He asked the court to consider rehabilitation over punishment. Then Anna spoke. Her voice trembled. She apologized to Joseph. She apologized to her parents. She admitted to the gambling, the drugs, the lies. She said she had felt lost, ashamed, and afraid. She said she didn't know how to ask for help. And she begged the court for a chance to make things right. The room was silent. The judge listened carefully. He reviewed the evidence. He weighed the arguments. And then he delivered the verdict. Anna Johnston was found liable for the $30,000 debt. The court ruled that she had breached the loan agreement, acted dishonestly, and misused the funds. But the judge also acknowledged her addiction and emotional state. He believed punishment alone wouldn't solve the problem. So he issued a dual sentence. Anna would serve 6 months in prison, and upon release, she would be required to enter a rehabilitation center for addiction treatment. The goal wasn't just justice, it was healing, a chance to rebuild, a chance to recover. Amber sobbed quietly. Trent nodded solemnly. Anna sat in silence, absorbing the reality of her future. The courtroom drama wasn't just about money. It was about a young woman's fall from grace, a family's heartbreak, and the painful journey toward redemption. As Anna was escorted out of the courtroom, she glanced back at her parents. Amber mouthed, "I love you." Trent gave a subtle nod. And in that moment, despite the shame and sorrow, there was still a flicker of hope. The consequences had arrived, but the story wasn't over. The courtroom verdict echoed in Anna Johnston's ears long after the gavel fell. 6 months in prison, followed by mandatory rehabilitation. It wasn't just a sentence, it was a reckoning. A moment where the consequences of her choices finally caught up with her. The business, the addiction, the lies, the debt, it had all led to this. And now, Anna had no choice but to face it. Her parents, Amber and Trent, stood by her side as she was escorted out of the courtroom. Amber clutched her hand until the very last second. Trent gave her a quiet nod, his way of saying, "Be strong." The rest of the family watched from afar, hearts heavy, unsure how to process the reality of Anna's fate. Prison wasn't what Anna expected. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't chaotic. It was quiet, routine, isolating. She was placed in a low-security facility, surrounded by women with stories not unlike hers. Addiction, financial ruin, broken families. At first, Anna kept to herself. She didn't speak. She didn't cry. She simply existed. But slowly, the silence began to crack. She started attending group therapy. She listened to others share their stories. She began journaling, writing about A.G. Bold, about Joseph, about her parents, about the pain she had buried for years. She began to see herself not just as a failure, but as someone who had lost her way. Amber visited every week. She brought letters from Anna's siblings. She brought updates from home. She brought hope. Trent came too, though less often. His visits were quiet, filled with long silences and short sentences. But his presence mattered. It reminded Anna that she hadn't been abandoned. The prison sentence wasn't just punishment. It was reflection. Anna began to understand the depth of her addiction. She saw how gambling had become a substitute for control, how drugs had numbed the shame, how secrecy had isolated her from the people who loved her most. She began to accept responsibility, not just for the debt, but for the damage. When her 6 months ended, Anna was transferred directly to a rehabilitation center. It was a structured program, intensive therapy, addiction counseling, life skills training. Anna resisted at first. She didn't want to be labeled. She didn't want to be pitied. But the counselors were patient. They saw her not as a reality star, but as a young woman in pain. And slowly, Anna began to heal. She opened up in therapy. She confronted her guilt. She apologized to her parents in writing. She even wrote a letter to Joseph, acknowledging the debt, the betrayal, and her commitment to change. It wasn't easy. It wasn't quick. But it was real. The rehabilitation center became a turning point. Anna began to rediscover herself, not the businesswoman, not the reality star, but the daughter, the sister, the survivor. She started sketching again, not for A.G. Bold, but for herself. She began dreaming, not of fame, but of forgiveness. Her time in prison and rehab didn't erase the past, but it gave her a chance to rewrite the future. And as she neared the end of her program, one question lingered. Would the world and her family accept the new Anna? Or would the shadow of her mistakes follow her forever? The sun rose quietly on the day Anna Johnston left rehab. There were no cameras, no press, no dramatic reunion, just a young woman stepping out of a facility with a duffel bag, a journal, and a second chance. Her 6-month prison sentence was behind her. Her court-mandated rehabilitation complete. But the real work, the rebuilding, was just beginning. Anna had changed. She wasn't the same girl who had borrowed $30,000 in secret. She wasn't the same woman who had spiraled into addiction and deception. She was quieter now, more grounded, more aware of her flaws and her strength. Rehab hadn't erased her past, but it had given her tools to face it. The Johnston family welcomed her home with cautious hope. Amber cried when she saw her. Trent gave her a long, silent hug. Her siblings were hesitant at first, unsure of what to say, how to act. But over time, the walls began to come down. They shared meals again, laughed again. Slowly, the family began to heal. But the road wasn't easy. Anna still owed Joseph $30,000. The court had ordered a structured repayment plan, and she was determined to honor it. She took a part-time job at a local boutique, working quietly behind the scenes. No fanfare, no spotlight, just honest work. She also began speaking at local schools and recovery groups. Not as a celebrity, not as a cautionary tale, but as a survivor. She shared her story, the secret business, the addiction, the courtroom, the prison. She spoke about shame, about pride, about the danger of silence. And in doing so, she began to forgive herself. A.J. Bold was gone. The brand she once dreamed of had collapsed under the weight of secrecy and addiction. But Anna didn't mourn it. She saw it now as a lesson, a painful, necessary chapter in her life. She still sketched designs, but only for herself. She still dreamed, but with her eyes wide open. Amber and Trent remained protective. They set boundaries. They encouraged therapy. They reminded Anna that trust, once broken, takes time to rebuild. But they also reminded her that love doesn't disappear. That family, even when fractured, can find its way back. Anna's story wasn't one of overnight redemption. It was slow, messy, real. There were setbacks. There were tears, but there was also growth. And for the first time in a long time, Anna felt something she hadn't felt in years: hope. She knew the world would judge her, that some fans would never forget the scandal, that some people would always see her as the girl who fell. But she also knew that falling wasn't the end. It was the beginning of a new chapter. One built not on secrecy, but on truth. Not on pride, but on humility. Not on addiction, but on healing. And as Anna stood in her childhood bedroom, looking out the window at the Georgia sky, she whispered a promise to herself. I'm not done yet. Anna Johnston's story isn't just about scandal. It's about silence, about the pressure to prove yourself, about the cost of hiding pain behind ambition. She was a daughter, a dreamer, a reality TV star, but she was also a young woman battling addiction, shame, and the fear of being seen as weak. Her fall was public. Her punishment was real, but her journey toward healing is still unfolding. So now we ask you, if you were in Anna's shoes, would you have asked for help? If you were Amber or Trent, could you forgive your child after such betrayal? If you were Joseph, would you have taken legal action or offered compassion? And most importantly, do you believe Anna Johnston deserves a second chance? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share your perspective. Let's talk about redemption, resilience, and the reality behind reality TV. Because sometimes the most powerful stories aren't scripted, they're lived. More update. 7 Little Johnstons. Anna Johnston goes public with new BF. Sparks concerns for dating an older married man. And Anna's Nana thinks she and Trent need a happy solution to resolve family drama. Emma and Alex reach out to Anna despite serious family drama. Will she accept the olive branch? And Trent Johnston slammed for disturbing behavior with adopted Russian daughter Anna. I will explain everything. 7 A new romance has been publicized online by Little Johnston star Anna Johnston. Sharing her joy with her fans, she has flaunted her new man. The problem is that TLC viewers aren't sure if they should be happy or worried. Sharing details about her most recent relationship online caused Anna to provoke fears for her safety. Her past soft launches on several platforms were quite successful. Some of the reality TV star's devoted followers have uncovered the man's strange past. Already, Anna has been through a lot due to the continuing family strife. As a result of her tumultuous split with Darius, she is more susceptible to temptation. People think the TLC star is making poor decisions and is experiencing a rebound, according to viewers. Has Anna erred once again? Has her new partner done anything wrong? The 7 Little Johnstons. A lot has happened in the previous several months for Anna Johnston. She had a lot of time to cope with her family problems. However, not everything has been neat and tidy as of late. Equally difficult were the times in Anna's life. After ending things with her ex-boyfriend Darius, she went her own way. Unfortunately, the TLC star's fans couldn't believe it when she started dating again. In multiple live TikTok sessions, viewers saw Anna embracing and kissing her unnamed partner. The rapidity with which she entered a new relationship worried her fans. Many fans of the TLC star's live sessions also remarked that she seemed frequently irritated and even angry. When Anna saw her fans, she changed her appearance and started speaking aggressively to them. She seemed to have changed a lot, leading onlookers to question whether her new relationship was the cause. The news of Anna Johnston's new romance is no longer being kept secret. Through this, she confirmed reports that she was dating someone new and provided her admirers a glimpse into her personal life. Celebrity 7 Little Johnston star announced her engagement and joy to fans with a photo of herself and her new beau. Nothing was revealed in the caption, but Anna's smile spoke all. Being with her mysterious lover made her appear absolutely delighted. While she was live on air, the reality TV star introduced him. One Reddit user even went so far as to post a screenshot in a discussion about her love life. Is this the guy who was married, or was that someone else? A fan said. And more user came clean about the TLC star's new spouse's marital status. Given the age of her spouse, some admirers were already worried about Anna. Some thought he was too old for her, according to them. It was speculated by some viewers that her mystery man appears to be about 50 years old. Curious fans wanted to know if the TLC star's spouse had officially requested a divorce. As far as they're concerned, this is the typical scenario in which men go back to their abusive partners. They believe that getting a divorce is a long process and that there's no need to worry about infidelity. She may be seeking the support of an older individual, as Anna has already been through a lot. Another person commented, "Y'all, I'm sure the man will be divorced soon if he isn't already." Anna's Nana thinks she and Trent need a happy solution to resolve family drama. Anna Johnston and her Nana are enjoying quality time together on 7 Little Johnstons. All of her relatives, with the exception of her kind grandmother, have been fooding with her. On her TLC show, the singer opened out about her problems with Trent and Amber. In recent episodes, viewers have witnessed tensions rise. But Anna's grandmother would rather not see her in such a state. She wished her grandchild and son would be able to resolve their problems. When asked about the family strife, the reality TV star revealed her honest feelings. Because she was the most generous and caring person, Trent's mom was a fan favorite. Their favorite part was watching her support Anna through thick and thin. Witnessing the latter's struggles as a result of their feud breaks the reality TV star's heart. What was her message? Why was this even happening? The parents of 7 Little Johnstons, Trent and Amber, were often criticized for being overly self-centered and cruel. They supposedly treated Anna like the outcast of the family. The reality TV star's daughter has been the source of their frustration on the show for various reasons. The most recent things that Trent and Amber did, though, ignited a fresh scandal. At the table with their other kids was the happy couple in the most recent episode. They encouraged their children to consider having an intimate relationship with Anna. The reality TV personality informed Liz, Emma, Alex, and Jonah that their brother has not been trying to make amends with them. Therefore, the fact that Amber and Trent were chatting trash behind Anna's back astonished the supporters. They further claimed that the parents were horrible for inciting strife among their children. While her family is on vacation, Anna Johnston has decided to spend the summer alone. Prioritizing what she could actually influence was her goal. Therefore, on season 16, the TLC star chose to spend time with her granny. Nana recently wanted to know how Anna and her partner, Darius, were getting along. The latter she brought up with her grandma while showing her a picture of him. The TLC performer spoke up about their approximately 8-month relationship. Even if her granny hasn't seen her boyfriend just yet, Anna said that she is familiar with his appearance. After that, the reality TV star gave her partner a dismal 1/10. But Anna's Nana didn't understand why her granddaughter was being so critical of her lover. She opened out to the cameras about how she really felt about seeing her date. The star of 7 Little Johnstons thinks that everyone needs a friend or companion. After all the upheaval in Anna's life, her grandmother feels she needs someone to lean on. "I know they have issues," she remarked. "They are not amicable." The TLC star, however, thinks that Trent and Anna's stubborn attitudes are the main cause of their arguments. Emma and Alex reach out to Anna despite serious family drama. Will she accept the olive branch? 7 stars from Little Johnstons. The Johnston twins, Emma and Alex, are making significant progress toward resolving their conflict with Anna. They intended to reconcile with their sister in person. The problems that the TLC stars have been experiencing as a result of their sister's rivalry with Trent and Amber were explored. Emma and Anna's friendship has always been strong. As the family dynamic shifted, Emma sought solace in her sister's absence and explored new coping mechanisms. As a result, Alex devised a plan to contact Anna. As a result of his rudeness, Trent and Amber are already furious with him. After their clandestine rendezvous, how did the family respond? Is it possible for Alex and Emma to reintegrate Anna into the family? The lead of the Little Johnstons, Emma Johnston, overdid it in her attempt to appear to be opposed to Anna. Although she had a hard time overcoming her animosity toward the family, she remained quite close to the latter throughout her life. In a confessional, the TLC star revealed how she really feels about the continuing conflict. Pretending to be furious with Anna for inflicting pain on them, Emma made an effort. Additionally, the reality TV star wished her sister would refrain from further causing chaos. This is why the producer was curious about Emma's true intentions and grievances. While attempting to convey everything, she became visibly anxious and distraught. The TLC star's fans thought she was merely attempting to win over Amber and Trent. They believe she is scared of what happened to Anna when she defied them. The turmoil engulfing Anna made Seven Little Johnstons star Emma Johnston appear pretty moved. So that she wouldn't have to deal with herself, she decided to spend some time with Ashley. Trent and Amber discussed the hardships their daughter has endured as a result of the ongoing drama. Like everyone else, Liz saw that Emma's conduct had changed and wished she could figure out how to handle it. Alex then confessed his sentiments in a journal entry. He noticed that Emma's situation improved as she spent time with Ashley. The TLC star, nevertheless, is aware that his sister would have similar thoughts after meeting Ashley. Alice isn't exactly in a wonderful position with our parents at the moment, Alex exclaimed. The two struck up a conversation, and he invited Anna out to supper. Emma consented to the reality TV star's request that she tell him whether she felt it was a good idea. After much prodding, Alex finally invited Anna to supper with them. The second party was fast to reply and accept their invitation to meet. She said that she missed them terribly. Even now, Emma feels bad about her sister's decision to skip the graduation ceremony she and Alex were a part of. She wished her sister wouldn't lose her cool or say something ridiculous at the meeting too. After what transpired between their families, Alex was hesitant to text her. He was eager to hear her reply though. The fact that his sister was prepared to meet them made the reality TV star very delighted. It was a relief for the fans when Alex and Emma contacted Anna at last. They think the Islings should stop allowing Amber and Trent to dictate the story and start making their own choices. Trent Johnston slammed for disturbing behavior with adopted Russian daughter Anna. 7 Trent Johnston, star of Little Johnstons, has recently been criticized for allegedly being overly critical of Anna. He went to see his daughter to fix things and discuss their problems. But that wasn't what the TLC star did. For allegedly beating Anna at her home and tormenting her for her faults in the past, fans are blaming Trent. They were shocked that he would bring up the same old issue in order to pin the responsibility squarely on her. The reality TV star pretended he was serious about trying to mend fences with Anna for the sake of his audience. Trent and Amber still can't put the past in the past. According to their plan, she was the one who caused all the trouble in the family. Trent revealed his real colors during the heated discussion with Anna, nevertheless, with his alarming actions. What are his admirers' thoughts on him? Then why are they hitting him so hard? The lead of the Little Johnstons, Anna, has been estranged from her family, and Trent Johnston has noticed. He resolved to pay her a visit and talk to her about their problems. However, when the TLC star began physically abusing his daughter at her home, the situation swiftly deteriorated. After asking Anna to visit them alone before bringing a friend, Trent finally got to the bottom of her refusal to do so. Even before she could begin to explain, he abruptly ended her. Rather than addressing the original point, the reality TV star continued to cast Anna in a negative light. For bringing the underage girl to the bar with her, Trent persisted in scolding his daughter. Angry, Anna said, "I haven't done since February." Taking stock of her deeds, she admitted fault. The subject persisted though, and Trent persisted in making her feel like the antagonist in the story. For going to see Anna in an effort to resolve their problems, Trent Johnston feels he deserves praise. He gives the impression that he is very concerned about her. If his daughter wishes to reunite with the family, the reality TV personality even recommended she pay them a visit. People thought Trent would never go to Anna for help because of this. They said he was already making fun of her and treating her like an outsider since she didn't follow their standards. A Reddit user took issue with the 7 Little Johnstons star's awful actions in a recent episode, so they began a thread to talk about it. He didn't seem interested in trying to work things out and go ahead, the OP wrote. He seemed to be there to criticize and pick on her even more. The Observer took note of Trent's apparent attempt to mend fences with Anna. However, the former was merely being abusive and demanding an apology from her. Many viewers felt the same way about how upsetting the whole piece was. The entire family is constantly prodding her to react, which causes them to become angry with her, as one admirer put it. The supporter scolded Trent for bringing up the down payment he offered Anna. What a father would say. They couldn't believe it. A number of viewers took note of the fact that Trent and Amber gave Liz a car as a gift and let her move in with Bryce. When Jonah was struggling with his addiction, the couple treated him like a child and forgave him quickly, as fans remember. No more today. What are you thinking about this gossip today? Let us know in the comments, and stay tuned by subscribing to our channel to get more updates like this. Thank you.